Hello, it's Alex. Welcome to my channel. Thanks for joining me for this week's video. It's going to be a conclusion to the Sewing Using the Curated Closet book from Anushka Rees. I asked you in a recent poll whether you were interested in seeing this or not, because it's not all sewing related really. And when I last looked, it was a 94% yes. So I take that to be go for it. And I have really enjoyed this process. I'm still learning. There is still kind of work to do, and I need to control myself a little bit, I think. But let me pick up where I left off. So last time I had gone out and tried some clothes in John Lewis, and I was also arranging a visit to go into Manchester to try on some other items, because what I hadn't found in John Lewis that I had on my mood board, on my Milanote mood board, were long skirts, and I identified there were a couple of shops in town that had them, but unfortunately wasn't massively successful because they didn't have what I was looking for in stock. Also, another reason that shopping trip wasn't great is that the lighting in those shops is horrendous. You would think that they would design lighting to make you look your best. I left this house feeling okay about myself, and I came back at the end of that day feeling horrific. Yeah, really horrible lighting in those shops. Anyway, it wasn't quite the same success, but I did come away after those two trips with a kind of idea of what worked and what didn't, following my initial mood boards. So the book then says you go back to your mood board and you revise it and you take out the things that didn't work and maybe you add some new things in, and that's what I did. So I now know, for example, as I mentioned, that I'm not going to be wearing any miniskirts. I've rejected that. There are a couple of other things that I've left on the mood board, but I don't think I'm likely to make now. One of those, for example, is that I had a woven waistcoat, and I still love it, and I still, in many ways, want to make it. But I don't actually know where it would fit in my wardrobe. So it would be very low down the list of priorities, and there are other things that I do need and other gaps that I do have in my wardrobe that are going to take priority. So for the moment, I don't see that happening. I also added in tie neck blouses. I very much like those tie neck ones. I don't ever intend really to do the tie up, but I like it when the ties kind of are loose. A bit like, here's one I made earlier. A bit like this dress that I made for Sam. Frugalissima does the first year it was called Frugal Frocks, and I can't remember what it's been called on subsequent years, because frock being such a British term. But this was something I made using a free pattern, and in fact it was just a plain tunic, and I turned it into a dress and I added the ties around the neck. That's a new addition to the mood board. But yeah, so that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to go back to your mood board and kind of revise your style. There's a thing about writing a written style summary. I didn't do that. It was a bit of homework I didn't feel that I needed. But I did tackle the dreaded 3 words that signify your personal style. You know, I was feeling really uncomfortable about that before, but I was kind of mostly helped by all of you, because so many people suggested words that they thought might be appropriate for me, and I just thought, oh, stop being so British. So I have come up with that, and one of the things that helped me do that also was I had a little look on YouTube, and there was one video in particular I liked, and I will link it below. Can't remember the name of the channel. Where she suggested that when you pick your 3 style words, that you pick your first word from the things that you wear most regularly, your kind of go-to favourite items. And I therefore picked the word casual. that you pick your second word should be aspirational, so what you would like your wardrobe to look like, and it may not necessarily be that yet. And I picked edgy. Third word should be emotional, how you would like to feel when you're wearing your clothes. So I picked chic. Get me. So those are my 3 words now, and I really want to hang on to that and try to kind of question myself whenever I'm thinking of making something or buying something, but making more really because of the time and fabric investment. And I want to question myself and say, does this fit that category? Is it casual, edgy and chic, or 2 of them? It can be casual and chic and not edgy, maybe, but does it fit that criteria? Because I suspect, like lots of you, I have been very, very guilty of making things that, because you get an idea or you get inspired by a piece of fabric or a pattern and you come up with this and you make it and it fits and it's wonderful, and then it sits in here very, worn very infrequently or not at all. I've certainly done it lots. So then the next thing you do is you give your wardrobe a whole rejig. There's a whole chapter in the book about doing that. I had pretty much done that anyway because I'd brought all the winter stuff up from downstairs, and I had attempted to be really, really ruthless. I had anything that didn't fit, anything has gone, charity or given to people, anything that was tired and bobbly. And I also tried to be really ruthless with things that I thought, come on, you haven't worn this for a long time. So I attempted to take those things out of the equation. Not 100% successful on that, but I have really tried. She also talks about you can put something, I think it's called a time restriction. I quite liked that. So for those things that, you think, well, I haven't worn this for years, but I still love it. You can keep it in your wardrobe, but if you really, really aren't, give it a go, really try to wear it. But if you're really not, then you've got to kind of say, come on. The other thing, of course, when you go through your wardrobe that she suggests you do is that anything that doesn't fit that can be tailored, that you take it to a tailor and get it sorted. Well, obviously, we don't need to do that, do we? And I have got quite a lot that I don't fit into anymore. And a lot of it I had just thought, I cannot be bothered to spend ages taking out waistbands and altering things. It's just not going to happen. However, there were 1 or 2 things that I have really, really missed. And one of them I am wearing now is these green wide leg trousers. It's weird because although they're wide leg and tailored and you would feel like possibly they're quite formal, I love to wear them. I don't go and work in an office or anything. I am just mostly milling around at home or out and about, maybe seeing friends or doing, supermarket, that kind of thing. But they are so lovely to wear and I love the colour. So I've really missed them. But when I looked at them, I thought, that is just too big a job to kind of rebuild them. They've got these side pockets and a waistband and I'm just going to have to remake another pair. Then I saw this hack on Instagram, and most of these hacks are rubbish, aren't they? But this one has actually worked-ish. So what somebody did was they were talking about adjusting a waistband. Now they were talking about making it smaller, and what they did was where there was a hook and eye, they put a safety pin on the inside of the waistband, so just the pin little bar created like a bar for your hook and bar, and they moved it along to the relevant place on the waistband. And I thought, well, I could do that. And then I thought, well, why would I use a safety pin? Why don't you just unpick the existing bar and move it across? Now, obviously, the zip is in exactly this original place. So what's happened with me is that I feel, so look, let me just show you. I'm not going to flash you my underwear. So originally, the original bar would have been about here, and I've moved it along to here. So we're talking probably about 5 centimetres, a couple of inches. So, but the zip is still there, nothing has changed. So I'm kind of doing that, which means in theory on the inside I've got a little bit of excess fabric, but it's fine. It is creating a slightly strange little fold here. But I feel that when I put my top and cover that initial bit of the fold, that it just looks like it's part of the pleat on the trousers. So as long as I've, accepted that these are not trousers that I can tuck anything into, I feel that it's working okay. And I now feel like I've got my trousers back without having to worry about how I was going to deal with the pockets and undoing the waistband. And yes, they're kind of loose, but that's the design. And I'm really chuffed to bits. Okay, so now we're getting to the bit where, I suppose the exciting bit or the interesting bit where you're starting to really define what you've got and what you might need and what your style is. And there's a whole chapter about closet composition, but basically what she's saying is that everything in your wardrobe should be one of 3 things. It should either be a key piece, so something that you're wearing really very often, goes with lots of things and is very versatile, or it should be, what's the word she uses, a statement. That's it, a statement piece, which I guess is how it says on the tin, or a basic, your absolute slightly calmer things that might calm down the statement, the kind of building blocks. I guess things like my white t-shirt here. It's just a basic, isn't it? And then there's a whole interesting chapter on outfit formulas. So what she says is that you should look at your wardrobe and you might have a number of outfit formulas that you wear on a regular basis. So it could be something like A-line miniskirt, jumper, loafers, blazer. And you're supposed to write all these outfit formulas out and, there's a whole process to go through. Well, I decided that I wasn't going to write them all out because life is too short. But I went back to my mood board and I had a look, and I kind of, having read the chapters and looking at mood board and looking at my wardrobe, I've kind of come to some conclusions, and I do have something of a recipe. What I've realised is that I've kind of known this, but it has solidified it in my mind, is that in terms of tops, I don't really like to wear, and I don't feel massively comfortable in anything that might be kind of categorised as a blouse. Now this is very much with winter and autumn in mind. The summer is a whole different bag. What I tend to wear is one of 4 things, and quite often in conjunction with each other. So either I wear jumpers, which I have in a number of different weights, or I wear long sleeve jersey t-shirts, or I wear shirts, as in button through shirts, and what was the 4th thing? 3 things. 3 things. And that's it. I might have a big, it could be jumper wise, kind of chunky ones, like this kind of thing, or this kind of thing. And I might be wearing them slightly tucked in, and I might wear them just loose and out. And I like the look where you wear a chunky jumper and you have a long shirt, at the hem coming out. I don't actually have any shirts that do that, but I also like that look. So we're talking kind of chunkier ones. Or I've got lots and lots of jumpers much like this in lots of colours. Middleweight crew neck jumpers. Quite a lot are cashmere, which I kind of tend to treat myself to one each season. And by the way, this is not the high end of the market. They're either like, what's that one? The yellow one is Uniqlo. Actually, it's my least favourite, and I don't think these ones wear very well. That one's COS. I think I've got some M&S ones. But yeah, I mean, middleweight jumpers, and I tend to wear them either like I've done today or with a shirt underneath. And at first I was thinking, this is a bit boring, isn't it? But do you know what? When you look at all the style bloggers and all the kind of, here's an ideal wardrobe for winter type things, quite often they really are just a jumper with a shirt, or a jumper with a t-shirt, or a jumper with a t-shirt and a shirt over the top. It's just a combination of all of the above. So I've kind of nailed it, really, for me, that is what I tend to wear. And then what I think is that the shirts can become my statement piece. But the shirts are also where I have my biggest gap, because I have quite a lot of them, but I've kind of fallen out of love with the majority of them. So I haven't culled them. Actually, I have culled them a bit, but I haven't culled them. But it is where I most need to do some more sewing. So I'm going to show you what I've got. The other thing, before I do that I really noticed, there's also a section on colour palette. Now, if you'd asked me, I would say to you, I tend to stick to a certain colour palette. I tend to stick to autumnal colours, we know this. And I also, in my mood board, was very much looking at browns, grey and green. Well, when I look at my wardrobe, it's not quite as cohesive as I thought. So anyway, here's my shirts. Right, there is only one in here, by the way, that I haven't made myself, so I'm quite proud of that. And I'll show you the ones I'm going to keep first, which is this one, this kind of print one. What I've realised is that as much as I said that I don't tend to sort of dress up much if we go out, and I don't tend to go out doing particularly fancy things, I've realised I actually have very little that kind of might be slightly more elevated. This week we went out for a meal and I really struggled knowing what to wear. So I think that's something that I need to bear in mind, and I think that's where shirts will come into play. So I need to make some shirts that feel slightly more elevated, but also fit my keywords of casual, chic and edgy. And if the shirts are going to be my statement, then maybe I should lean towards edgy. But anyway, this one here is staying. This one is staying because I haven't really tried it very much yet. I showed you this at the end of, I made it in the summer, and it's a poplin, and it's not really the right fabric for summer. It felt too heavy. I've definitely been flirting with the idea of trying this kind of pinky purpley colour, and I definitely thought it might work with these green trousers. I liked these two colours together. So it's here more because I haven't yet really tried it, and I feel that the weather is a bit cooler now. In fact, snow is forecast for the weekend, so we really are very cool. This is a new one which you've seen recently and I really like. It's the Arvo shirt. So I love that very much. I love the colour of it. I love the texture of it. This one is staying. And then this one, which is more of a daytimey one, is my orange and yellow. No, it's not yellow. I've made that up. Orange and white striped one, which I like very much. And this one I quite like more worn over a white t-shirt and open. So these are the ones that stay. The rest are all going into semi-retirement, i.e. I'm not getting rid of them. They will go downstairs, and if I find I'm missing them, they can come back. Old friend, my oversized spotty assembly line shirt. Nothing wrong with it. I'm just not wearing it. This I made 100 years ago, which is a denim one. It was an old DKNY sewing pattern. And partly because I don't really feel that I look good in blue. I don't know, I'm just not reaching for it. This one is an old favourite. It's got palm trees on it. It's starting to look a bit tired. I'm not convinced about viscose as a material for shirts. There's that as well. I don't know. I'm bored of it, purely and simply. Maybe it feels a bit summery. This one I made not all that long ago, and I was definitely having a little love affair with the French fashion brand Cézanne, and I felt it was a bit Cézanne-y. And again, I have worn it a little bit, but I don't reach for it very often. And when I look at it and I say to myself, does that hit the criteria of casual, edgy and chic? It's not edgy. And it can just go into semi-retirement. This one is made out of silk, and again it's collarless. It's okay, there's nothing wrong with it, but I don't tend to wear it very often because it's silk. I don't wear it during the day, and if I'm going out for an evening and I want to wear something a little more elevated, I like that word, then I would tend to want something with a collar that I can unbutton a little bit. You know about, I've said before, the William Morris one. It's just not me. Doesn't fit my kind of style at all. And this one I love. I really love this print. I feel like the collars are too wide. Again, it's viscose, but I'm just bored of it, and it can go away, and maybe it'll come back. Maybe I'll bring it back in a year or two and be very happy to see it, but right now I'm not bothered. This one I didn't make all that long ago. This is a Maya shirt in this textured white fabric. One of the reasons I made it was I was really into the pattern. It's got these like pleats over the shoulder, and I really like that. And I really like it as a shirt, and I thought everyone needs a white shirt in their wardrobe. Why? Because I'd read it somewhere, and I just have not chosen it to wear it. I think I've worn it maybe twice. It's the old favourite, the zebra that I wore not so long ago. That's the one with the split hem. I like how this looks with the little cropped jumper, but again, it's a viscose fabric, and I will do a close-up so you can see, but on the placket the viscose has completely gone and is frayed, and it needs redoing. If I keep wearing it, it's just going to fray into oblivion. I do have some fabric scraps. I could do that, but I just am not motivated to do it. I think, again, I'll put it to one side. I might come back to it in the future, but sorry, old friend. And then the last one isn't really a shirt at all. Well, it is. It's a shacket. Yeah, this old flannel one, and that's staying. And yeah, dog treats. So yeah, that's very much a practical dog walking thing rather than a shirt. So that leaves me only with these 4, and even the one in here that I didn't make, to be honest, should probably go into retirement because I never wear it. It's blue. I don't even know why I bought it. In fact, that can go into retirement. Maybe one of my daughters will want it. So that leaves me with 4 shirts, and I'm not entirely sure that that is enough. And if that's where my statement's coming in, I need to think about it. The other thing that was on my mood board was sweater vests, and I bought this one recently. It was a bit tight around the neck, so I shoved it on my mannequin with socks down its neck and steamed it and got the neck wider, and now it's wearable. So they live in there, and these 2 are ones that I have made. It's inside out, but anyway, you get the idea. Those again will go over mostly these jersey tees or a shirt if it was the right combo. That's where I'm at with all my tops, and following the advice in the book, what I need to do next is to think very, very carefully. And well, she says don't rush off and buy everything in the shop. Well, I don't intend to buy anything in the shops. I intend to make it, so there won't be any massive rush. But she says to really think very carefully about and be very precise about exactly what you need. So rather than just saying, oh, I'm going to make some shirts, what I need to really do next is think about what colour is that shirt going to be? What do I want it to do? Do I want it to have a collar? Do I want it to have a tie front? Do I want it to be out of viscose? All of those kind of things. And obviously I need to take into account what I'm going to be wearing them with. In terms of the bottom half, what I found, kind of looking at the mood board and looking at what I already have, is that sometimes when you look at these styling type videos, they talk about dressing in thirds. This is your top third and then the bottom part of you is in 2/3, and that what you ought not to really do is dress so that you create a line directly 50-50, because it kind of is not as flattering. Perhaps if I do that, that's maybe a bit longer. Anyway, that kind of thing. And what I found was that when it comes to tops, I do really like them to kind of be, bottoms. I do really like them to feel very much like I'm slightly higher waisted and the bottom is long. So that applies to the skirts as well. And I think that's where I've really found myself longing for longer length skirts. And a few people observed this about me not wearing many skirts and dresses when I was logging it, is because I just don't have any. So all I have, these 3 bits of my wardrobe are in front of a chimney breast, so they're not very deep, and I have to have this annoying front facing thing. And yes, we did investigate behind the chimney breast to see if there was an original Victorian fireplace. And no, there wasn't, which was very sad. All I have skirt-wise is this fella that you've seen before, which I bought and is just pleated, and I like it very, very much. And then this, which is another thing that I tailored. I made this a long time ago. It's pretty bobbly now. It's that cheap flannel. But it is very, very long, and it has this ruching. Well, it has ties in the sides that create a ruched effect. And I like it very much, and it was too big for me. But luckily, and I thought, well, that's a lot of hassle to redo. But what I noticed is that it has a centre front seam. So actually to take the waistband off and bring the centre front seam in wasn't too onerous. So I have done that. Even notwithstanding the fact that the fabric is a bit bobbly, but mostly to see whether I still love it and whether I still want to wear it. And if I do, then I will make another one in a fabric that is going to withstand life. So that's it. That's all I have skirt-wise. So I definitely need to make some long skirts. I have, thanks to all of you, got a really long list of skirt suggestions. And I have picked one that I like, and I am literally waiting for the AO copy to arrive, hopefully today, and that's going to be my number 1 priority. I am desperate to make a long skirt. So hopefully that might even be my next video, and I will share all the pattern suggestions when I do that. And then the other thing, of course, is trousers, which I actually have quite a lot of. Lots of jeans. I seem to be very drawn to wide legs at the moment. That's fine. This being my only tailored pair, and obviously not ideal with this funny business here. So I really am very keen to make another pair of tailored wide leg trousers. But it's quite an involved make. So what I wanted to investigate was some of the other wide leg trousers. My go-to, my 2 things that I pick the most, if I'm standing here and it's a wet Wednesday and I'm thinking maybe I'm nipping out to meet a friend, but primarily I'm going to be at home sewing. What do I want to wear? Are these, they're not massively wide, but wider leg ponte trousers that I self-drafted, and these old friends, which are the Mountain View jeans from Itch to Stitch. These have really seen better days because they've been worn so much, and this is the one that's made of jeggings fabric, and I said I was really struggling to find this anywhere, the fabric. Somebody told me they had it at Pound Fabrics, which I very much appreciated. It looked like the exact same fabric. I ordered 3 meters of it. It's not. Luckily it was pretty inexpensive. But I need to make another pair, if not 2 more of these, because I absolutely love them. They are the most comfortable thing, and I feel like they don't look like I'm wearing stretchy trousers, but I am in both cases. Definitely casual. Not sure about edgy, but definitely casual. Other than that, I've got my 2 pairs of Stephen trousers from O's Patterns. The darker ones are slightly wide. That's the official pattern style, and these ones I slightly tapered. I very much like these trousers. They are really nice and really wearable. But the rest of what's in here really is jeans, and I don't always find jeans all that comfortable. And going back to my mood board, I looked at things like the gathered wide leg trousers that historically I've made in double gauze, but I want to find a more winter appropriate fabric and make some like that, because then I'll get a similar kind of feel to the tailored ones, but it will be a much quicker and easier thing to make than something quite as involved as this. So they are definitely on my list to make. I talked about making another or an alternative pair of jeans to these original 90s ones that I have, that have the flare and the kind of front patch pockets, and I wanted to make some with a higher waist, because these are quite low waisted, which means I can't tuck anything in. And whilst I still like that idea and I still want to make it, I'm going to literally write all of these in a list, and I think this will be quite low down. I think all the other things are much higher up. Last but not least is dresses. I think there's quite a big hole in dresses as well, and again I feel like this is where the whole statement bit could come in. This obviously you have seen very recently, the slip dress, and I do think this is fitting. This with its little crop jumper friend that I made last week is fitting my criteria of casual, edgy and chic. This one I made very much with autumn winter in mind. It is now inside out, so I'll insert a picture. I like it very much. I really, really, really regret not making it longer. If I had done this process before I'd made this, I would have added some length to it. However, still very much like it. I still think pinafore dresses work really well for the winter, so I might make another pinafore dress. Not a dress, but I've got my dungarees. These are the Helen's Closet ones. I don't tend to wear these so much in the winter, but they're there just in case I feel so inspired. This is that knit dress that I have, which I bought. I did the steaming the neckline on this as well, and that works really well, so it's much more wearable. This I absolutely love, and it's the Delano dress from O's Patterns. It's the sleeves on this. Oh, lovely are those sleeves. Yeah, I really like this. It's an absolute winner and fits my criteria. And then lastly is the peony, which is very nice, but that's a bit more we're popping out for dinner. It's not, I'm going to the supermarket. And then one of my Stitch Bird dresses, the Sewing Revival Stitch Bird, I've got quite a few of these. This one, I tend to wear these in the summer, and I've put it in here just in case I feel so inspired to wear it over a t-shirt, long sleeve jersey t-shirt, tights and boots. I have to be honest, I have done this most winters since I made it, and I don't really do it, but I'm giving it one last go. So not a huge amount of dresses, and I really do need to give dresses a really big, careful thought, because I want to stick to this style idea. I want to think a little bit more carefully about my colour palette. Been very drawn to shirt dresses and made loads of those Stylark Armadale dresses, which I'm very, very fond of. But yeah, I need to kind of explore quite where dresses are going to work. It could be the pinafore dress thing, just making them longer. That may be the solution, but I don't know. I haven't really given it a lot of thought yet. I definitely need to think about a few things for, as I said, a few things for when we do go out, and that is where dresses come in as well as the shirts. So yeah, there's kind of more work to do and more thought. Going back to the book, after this whole section, there is a bit on if you want to have a capsule wardrobe, how to design a capsule wardrobe. There's a whole section on dressing for work, and that's about as far as I've got with it. I feel like it's sort of coming to an end really, and probably on wardrobe maintenance and that sort of thing. In conclusion, I guess on the one hand I feel like nothing has come up that I didn't already know, but then on the other hand it's really consolidated that and made me focus and made me really, really look at what I've got. It's also been really quite nice to open the doors to my wardrobe and not have to go, yeah, but that doesn't fit, and yeah, but that's a bit bobbly, and yeah, but I don't really. Apart from these shirts, well, they're over there now, apart from those shirts that I'm rejecting, everything in here is something that I wear. So that feels really, really nice. And it does feel quite exciting, really, to think that from now on, anything I make is going to be much more considered. And I like the introduction of the word edgy, because I kind of feel like that is what I would like my wardrobe to be and what is missing. And of course it's going to be my interpretation of edgy. I don't claim, by the way, I wish I'd said this up front now, I don't claim to be some kind of fashion guru. I'm a middle-aged woman from the northwest of England. But what I do want is to be able to just feel that everything I'm wearing really does reflect me and is comfortable and is practical and fits the actual life I live, not a fantasy life that I don't live. And so for all of that, I have really, really enjoyed this whole process, and I do think the book has been really, really useful. I just have to make sure that I don't slip into old habits and go and buy things that don't quite fit the brief. I already took deliveries of a piece of fabric this week that I now think I probably shouldn't have bought. But I'm not perfect. Maybe I'm going to make mistakes along the way. But yeah, I feel it's been really, really useful. So I hope this video hasn't been too long. I can't promise. And I hope it's been of interest. And if it hasn't, then you've just skipped along anyway. I will be back next week. Hopefully, lots of hopes. Hopefully the postie will arrive today with my printed pattern from Fabuloso, so I can make a start on my skirt. And I will be back really, really soon. And I do just want to say thank you very much for all your comments. You really have encouraged me to do this and made me feel like I've been given permission, and that it's okay, and that you don't have to be some young, cool person, and that it's all right to want to spend time sorting your clothes out. And yeah, so anyway, I know what I mean. Thank you very much. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.